everyone. We are, again, extremely excited to hear who the winner is. But first, we're actually heading to our Spotlight applicant. Now, a bit about the Spotlight. As we know, all startups aren't at the same level and need different kinds of support and mentorship as they move through. Now, the EmpowerWISM Spotlight applicant is our way to recognise the one applicant from among the others who is really in a league of their own, which is outstanding. And the grand prize, which is the mentorship package and all the other great things that come along with that, that we've put together, may not quite do it justice to what this startup actually needs at this level. So EmpowerWISM has been fortunate since year one that they have received, that we've received one Spotlight worthy applicant every year. So Candice Chi, one of our jury members who you met earlier this evening, was the Spotlight applicant from 2 years back. And we're really proud to be associated with them throughout this program. Now, this year is no different. We have an amazing applicant with a leading female change maker yet again, who we wish to spotlight. So I'd like to welcome to the virtual stage, Mona Lisa Thakur.
Hey Zoe, hi everyone. Thank you so much for the amazing introduction. Really touched. So I'll just share my screen just a minute. I hope you guys can see my screen. Yeah, here we go. So yeah, folks, Zoe has given a very good introduction of me, and so this year was, has been an incredible year as we have just started the journey. But before we start everything, and we have been talking about Tummoc, we have been talking about a lot of other things in the story and the whys and the what. I would, at any point of time, would like to start with what makes me me, what makes Mona Lisa Thakur, what are the driving force behind what you see at the screen right now. So this is the family that comes, and they are the drivers who drive me in the journey that I am pursuing at the moment. So that's Priyangi, my daughter, that's Ranmay, my husband and my fellow co-founder. So yeah, I'm a wife, a mother, two fellow co-founders. On the right side, I have Narayan, the CTO and the product guy, and Hiranmay, the fellow co-founder, is the CEO as well. And yeah, on the other side of the screen, you find the entire team who backs us up, the 35, 36 incredible people. And yeah, right at the top, how can I forget the chief brand manager, as I call her, Chia. She is the brand mascot of Tummoc, the birdie at the top. And she is the one who actually has a lot of, I think, more fan following, including, more fan following than all of us here, together included. So yeah, that's a small family that, I belong to, and they are the ones who have driven and who make Tummoc what Tummoc is at the moment. So yeah, so I think enough of me. Before I think I should again actually talk endless about this, but I think I should really keep going to the next slide and talk about the story of why a normal commuter, a daily commuter like me, who used to take public transport on day-to-day life, right? I mean, what really happened that from the daily commuter, I actually reversed the term commute and I made it Tummoc, minus the E. If you see, the Tummoc word is actually the reverse of the word commute. So that's what I did. So there's a very famous quote that which says that, life happens when you least expect it to be. So so the journey goes like this. So, I mean, in the millions of travels, I would say millions, because, you up and down, and I'm already 35. So, I mean, of the various travel that I did using public transport, the challenges that I faced across the whole journey, whether it was, especially in a country like India, where there are millions of people, it's the 7th largest country in the world, and it's the 2nd largest populous country in the world, right? It's crazy. We are a crazy bunch of folks. And at the same time, every state and every city is different. Like every 5 kilometers, you'll find a new culture, a new tradition. And so is the form of, modes of transport at all the levels. So when I was going through all the journey and traveling the various parts of India in my job, when I started working, I was into sales, and I was heading country and SAARC nations in my last few profiles. What I realized is that across all the levels, even though I have been an avid user of public transport, the basic avenues, something which is as basic as you getting the basic information of public transport. You don't know where your bus is, you don't know where your metro is. The problem of reaching from your source to destination, these were the problems which and it's like, I mean, I'm talking like 15 years back to back, right? It's nothing was changing. Like the country is progressing, the tech is progressing, I am progressing from a student to working professional, to getting married, to having a kid, to going across the ladder in my corporate world, but this thing is not changing. And then it came to a point when we were like, okay, guys, I think enough is enough. Let's instead of really talking and cribbing about it, let's take the plunge. And this is how Tummoc happened. So the interesting thing about Tummoc is when we started with the first use case, which was the immediate issue, that was the issue of first and last mile connectivity from the public transport bus stops or metro stations to your respective homes or offices or wherever you're going, because even that was a problem. Even though I'm talking about 2016 when we started the company, we had Olas and Ubers, but the problem was because it was a small mile, right? 2.5, 3 kilometers. The Olas and Ubers used to cancel the rides. So much so that when I was 8.5 months pregnant, Hiranmay, my fellow co-founder, he used to travel a lot. And because I've always been a avid traveler of using public transport, I always used to have a challenge to take the last mile from the metro station to my home, which was 2.5 kilometers. And many days, with 8.5 months, big belly, I used to walk. I've walked 2.5 kilometers. Imagine a country like India, which is so progressive, obviously crying back home. And this didn't happen once, it happened many times. And, and I think life happens when you're, making other plans. So this is when, was like the last nail in the coffin. And I was like, you know what, let's do something about it. It's killing us. We have to do something. And this is how Bikers started. We did that with that intention. We started this first and last mile in Bangalore. It's a Silicon City capital of the country. We did that in Hyderabad and Kolkata, name of the few locations. We also got a lot of accolades from the government, from the Startup India. We were one of the runner-ups in Startup 2020 awards. We were the best startup award. We actually won the best startup award for government of Karnataka. So there was a lot of support from the government as well. But along the way, what we realized was that, hey, I mean, even though we were just solving the first and last mile problem, the actually problem was much more bigger. Now, why is it so that there are so many big companies and startups in across the world when it comes to transit? But why is it that none of them is there in India? What is the problem? And then we realized that the problem is not just the first and the last mile, right? It's actually much bigger, which is the STAs, the state transit agencies, which actually govern these intracity or intercity platforms in India. And they are ops-driven companies. They don't understand technology. So if you really want to solve the problem, you don't have to just solve the B2C side of it. You have to also enable and basically upgrade and become the knowledge partner of the techies or of the state transit agencies, right? Who drive the BMTCs and the metros and millions of people. And I'm just giving you a number that as I'm talking to you, on a daily basis, we have 75 to 80 million people who travel in India daily on intracity travel. And the numbers are crazy, and these are absolutely driven by these STAs. And this is where we were able to finally cater to the entire problem as a gamut. So right now, what we do is we not only solve the B2C side of the problem as an app, because we have a product, we also cater to the B2B side of it because the data is fragmented. They don't have data themselves. They don't know how to track it. So we become their knowledge partners too. And we enable and strengthen the tech part of all the state transit agencies as well. So this is how we are, creating that balance. And from there, the real scale up of Tummoc started. Now, before we start, I'll just take you through a basic 1-minute video of what we are doing through this 360-degree solution. How is it that we are solving the entire gamut of problem from the user side as well as from the government side? Yeah, so that's what we do. So these are the three problems that we solved, as I already mentioned earlier, that there was a lack of reliable information, the STOs were not enabled enough. And then, we had to put a platform where we had to basically upscale ourselves from Biker to Tummoc, where we became that ecosystem enabler in a place where you have the first and last mile players like Rapidos and Olas and Ubers and Quick Rides. We have all the information and STAs, and then on the other side we have the straight transit agencies where we are getting the information from them, helping them in getting the tech part of the problem solved and putting it all together as an ecosystem enabler. And that is exactly what we are doing at Tummoc here. So when you go to the application, I'm talking about the B2C part of it. These are the three basic use cases that we have on the product. The first part talks about the discovery of transit information, where across the 17 cities where we are live at the moment, we give the real-time information of all the different modes of public transport in that area. So for example, in Bangalore, you have buses and metros, at an airport, rails, and in Chennai it will be different, in Delhi it will be different. So for different locations, what are the different modes of transport? That is the first thing we'd give it to the users. The second thing is absolutely the first and last mile connectivity, where we realize that there are already big players available in the country. So why not harness them than to really get into the the market ourselves, because we have upscaled and become the ecosystem enablers, right? So that's where companies like Rapido, who is actually a unicorn right now, they have a presence around 150 cities in India. So they are our partners. The next one is Quick Ride, which is again into cab services. They are also big time into EV, and they're also into cab, ride sharing and cab sharing. So they are the two partners. Through them, we are giving the first and last mile connectivity. And now comes the interesting part, that here we add all the first mile, last mile, and the ticketing of the public transport together as a single journey. Now imagine, instead of you getting into you get into first take the first mile, you get into Rapido, then you take a bus from point A to point B, and then again you get down, and then again you have to take an EV ride, right? So what if I put everything as one single QR and give it to you, where you don't really have to juggle through all the 5 apps or 3 apps that you're using, and just one Tummoc, one QR, and you're good to go. And to make that possible, what we really did was we did our research, we did our studies, we worked on that, we created a patent, we got it granted. So the tech that we use at the back end of the single ticketing that you see is absolutely IP driven. It has been granted by the government of India IP services, and the same has been applied to various countries across the globe to basically take this tech across the various parts of the world as well, and to share it with the whole world. So this is where we are at the moment while we are talking to you, across around 2.2 million users to be exact. We are live in across 17 cities. There are approximately 12 STAs with which we are already working. And the best part of them is most of them have actually come as word of mouth, because we helped one. The others also came along and they said that, why don't you do that for us? And that's how the whole journey continued. So along for the ticketing revenue, we have already crossed around 4.5 million revenue as I'm talking to you, and 200K plus, right? So this is the journey that we have done in the span of 6.5 years. Now, before I end this session, and this is the various customer feedback. Now, definitely, these are the people who actually drive us at the end of the day. They are the people who have been supporting us throughout the journey. And, really grateful to them because if I can tell you about the numbers of the users that we have, approximately 45% to 47% of the user is organic. And that directly shows on the CAC also that, amount of acquisition that we do. It is, if I talk in Indian rupees, it is actually less than 3 rupees as I'm talking to you, which is, very less, I can put it like that. So, so it is because of the fact that it is a need, not a want. So, absolutely grateful to them as well that for trusting us in our journey. In fact, they have played such an important role that every month we have these sessions with our users, feedback sessions where we call them and talk on the product and the technology. And, we have these extensive sessions, we call them, and we take their feedback on the various products that we have and what are we're going to do them in the future. So yeah, so this is all that we have. These are various partners and affiliations that are working with us in our journey, that are supporting us in our journey. From the Startup India to Smart 50 to BMTC, Map My India, you will hear Toyota Mobility. These are the various names which is there. Yeah, so that's all from my side. Now, before I end, I would like to, end this with a very famous quote from my favorite author, because all of us are here women, and most of us are here women. I would put it like that. And the journey that I started 6.5 years back has not been easy. It's been crazy. Sometimes I feel that, okay, it actually keeps me at toes all the time. And sometimes I feel that, okay, where will I really be able to sit back and relax? But then I go back to the intent of why we started all this. And then it all makes, sense completely. So ending it up with a very famous poem from Maya Angelou. She's my favorite poet. It's called Still I Rise. You may write me down in the history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like moons and like suns with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, still I'll rise. You may shoot me with your words, you may cut me with your eyes, you may kill me with your hatefulness, but still like air, I'll rise, I'll rise, I'll rise.